Well guys, Halloween may be over now, but I've still been watching a ton of scary movies, because why not? Now I love a lot of classic horror, but easily two of my favorites are John Carpenter's The Thing and Ridley Scott's Alien. I don't know why, maybe it's just the fact that these movies twist the fun and exploratory angle science fiction usually gives us, or maybe it's the fact that both movies feature groups of mostly ill-equipped humans fighting off an unimaginably terrifying enemy in a heavily confined space, giving both movies a tense and claustrophobic atmosphere. Whatever the case, these movies are simply awesome. And the aliens each one of them featured have gone on to become some of the most memorable entries in Hollywood horror, with each one getting sequels, comic books, and video games that allowed them to continue their reign of terror, usually against some random group of people thrown in just to get a decent body count. But after watching both of these movies, I started wondering, what would happen if one of the things went up against one of the xenomorphs? Could a xenomorph kill one of the things before it got assimilated? Could a thing even assimilate a xenomorph in the first place? Well, as far as the second part of the question goes, the short answer is no. The long answer is hell no, for a couple different reasons. First off, there's the fact that I'm not even entirely sure that any of the things we've seen so far can overpower or injure a xenomorph. I mean, the way the things assimilate pretty much anything means it has to be able to physically restrain its target while also being able to break the skin so it can start replicating the victim's original cells. And sure, it's had an easy enough time doing that to humans and dogs, but unfortunately for the thing, the xenomorphs are some extremely tough SOBs. I mean, sure, they're not exactly bulletproof, but these things managed to tank getting smashed through thick stone, and we're still walking around after having 10 tons of molten lead being dropped on them.
There's gonna be 10 tons of hot lead in here!
This also doubles as a heat durability feat, considering lead melts at around 621 degrees, by the way. So all in all, I highly doubt a tendril or some oversized chompers are going to be enough to pin a xenomorph down for long, if at all. On top of that, there's also the fact that the thing probably wouldn't even be able to assimilate a xenomorph in the first place because of its biology. As confirmed by a conversation between Ripley and the android Ash in the first movie, the facehugger, the initial stage in the xenomorph life cycle, is capable of replacing its own cells with a silicon material.
There's a funny habit of shedding his cells and replacing them with polarized silicon.
Now I don't know about you guys, but this, along with the resistance to its own acidic blood, suggests to me that the xenomorph itself is a silicon-based life form. And even though we don't actually know whether or not the thing would have a problem assimilating this, it was confirmed in the 2011 movie that the thing can't assimilate synthetic materials, only biological materials.
Now, Lars has fillings. So he's human. It can't imitate inorganic material.
That's why it can't copy things like clothing, earrings, or dental fillings in either the 1982 version or the 2011 sequel. However, Ash's statement is a little vague, and one could argue that the xenomorph are actually some kind of carbon/silicon-based mixed life form.
I have confirmed that he's got an outer layer of protein polysaccharides.
Meaning a thing could assimilate it if given the chance. However, even assuming all of this happens, the xenomorph's acidic blood is another big issue. Since we've seen that the acid is powerful enough to melt through multiple floors of a futuristic spaceship, I'd say it's pretty safe to say that it could completely dissolve a thing if given the chance, given that fire was an effective enough tool to destroy a thing. Xenomorphs also tend to gush blood when their skin is punctured, and considering how assimilation tends to be a very violent and messy procedure, it could lead to a thing accidentally committing suicide in a first-time encounter. Some xenomorphs can even spit acid, making it even harder for a thing to grab one long enough to start up the assimilation process. On top of that, we've seen before in Alien vs. Predator that xenomorphs are willing and able to attack each other and use their blood as a short-range weapon when needed, or can fling it and use it as a long-range weapon when injured. So there you go. Based on everything we've seen and heard about both these creatures, I highly doubt that a random thing could assimilate a random xenomorph. That having been said, I'm not entirely sure that the xenomorph would be able to completely destroy an invasion of things either. For starters, that spitter type of xenomorph I mentioned earlier, yeah, that's never been seen outside of Alien 3, so I'm not exactly confident that one of these things would pop up in a xenomorph nest in time to help take out however many things the Hive decide to try and fight. I'm not even entirely sure that the xenomorphs could figure out that their blood would hurt the things in the first place, considering how they'd have to be injured and dribbling blood all over a thing for them to be able to make the connection in the first place, and both that thing and that xenomorph might just take each other out by that point. Even if the xenomorphs did realize they could use their blood as a weapon though, making yourself bleed all over your enemy might be tough if the enemy is smart enough to stay out of sight, or at least out of reach, which we can assume the things would do anyway, considering how the one from the movies was pretty smart and was capable of strategic thinking. And sure, even the lowest level xenomorph drones are pretty fearsome, with their razor sharp teeth, multiple mouths, and strong tails capable of shattering stone, but short of the acid blood, none of its weapons can put a thing down for long. I mean, it's like we saw in the 1982 movie, every single piece of the assimilated creature is, in essence, its own thing.
Watching Norris in there gave me the idea that maybe every part of him was a whole. Every little piece was an individual animal.
This is why we saw the head of the Norris thing split away when its body was set on fire, and why Palmer thing's blood took off when MacReady exposed it to that hot wire. Ripping apart a single thing is only going to lead to a bunch of smaller things, so it's not exactly like the problem's getting solved. I guess you could say that a matchup between the two would just end up being a tie.
Worst crossover ever.
But anyways guys, that's my take on whether or not a random thing could assimilate a random xenomorph, or if a xenomorph could even take down a thing in the first place. If you guys agreed with anything I said in this video, or if you have your own thoughts you want to throw out there, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, then go ahead and click that like button, and if you're new, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button too. I've also got links to my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Patreon in the description. You should probably check those out too. And if you want to see more of my content, then you can click the link to my last video. It's right there in the middle of your screen. Alright, and I will see you all next time.